Can you pay your school fees in the UK as a student by working 20 hours a week? This is one of the most controversial questions people have asked, and a lot of people who are in Nigeria who plan to relocate to the UK, they are scared because you get a lot of people saying it is not possible, and then you get some agents trying to sweet talk you into, getting your study visa and coming to the UK, because they are like, it is so possible. People, they do them now. Once you just enter, you just make it look so easy. But if you ask me, Udochi, at this point, 5th May 2025, no, sorry, 5th June 2025, is it possible working as a student to pay the balance of your school fees? I would say yes and no. Yes, because it is possible. No, and because sometimes too it is impossible. So why am I saying this? Yes, you get all of that answer in this video. I will not even beat about the bush. We are just going straight to the point. Like I said, I have my laptop here because we'll do a little bit of realistic calculation. Okay, so yes. So yeah, what does 20 hours entail? 20 hours, self-explanatory. That means you cannot exceed 20 hours. Students are limited. Even on your visa, it is written you are permitted to work only 20 hours in a week. That's about 4 hours from Monday to Friday, or 10 hours 2 days a week, depending on how you want to spread it, but it should not pass 20 hours a week. So years ago, students in the UK were allowed to work full-time, because I mean, if you like school, you go school. It's not your business. It's not anybody's business. But then trust especially immigrants, to like misuse that opportunity. So what people do is that when they come to the UK, they leave school, switch their visas from study visa or student visa, anyone you want to call it, to a working visa. That means that they've paid half of their school fees for to the school, but then because they have switched their visa to a work visa, they no longer need the study visa, so they don't even pay the remaining balance. So these schools run at losses. Because of that, they raised the alarm, and boom, they had to limit it to 20 hours. So when you come, the thing that brought you, you will do it. So after doing it, if you want to now switch to student to skilled worker visa, kudos to you, your business. Anyways, like I said, I'm not blabbing. I'm not going to blab. I've already blabbed a little. Forgive me. So yeah, let us do a realistic calculation. So if you work 20 hours in a week, so the average earner in the UK, let's say above minimum wage, earns like £12, like usually 12 point something. But okay, for the purpose of this calculation, let's just do £13. Let's say you earn £13 an hour. Okay, so if you work 20 hours, that means you earn £13 times 20. Excuse me, that means you earn £260 in a week. Okay, so let's say some months have 5 weeks, or let's say usual 4 weeks. £260 multiplied by 4 gives you 1040. Am I right? Sorry, let me check again. 260 multiplied by 4, okay, £1040 in a month. So yes, let me write this down. £1040. That's what you get on the average. Mind you, we are doing £13, so some people still earn less than £13, 12 point something pounds. Okay, so you earn on the average £1040 in a month by working 20 hours a week in 4 weeks. Okay, in 4 weeks. So yes, if you earn £1040, that means you still have to pay your bills. So everybody has a peculiar situation, so some people don't have to pay rent, some people are not feeding themselves. So let's just do a realistic calculation, like I said. So let's say you pay rent, you live in a shared apartment, like me. Let's say the average rent, depending on the city where you live in, but let's do £400. That's what it costs to rent a shared apartment on the average, like I said. So if you pay £400 for your rent, let's say feeding, you do about £100. That's depending on how you eat. So if you're a newcomer, usually you already came with food, most of the like some foods. Okay, so the things, you just buy little things here and there. So it depends on how you eat, but let's just do £100 for your feeding, and then you do transport. Also, okay, I'll just use my situation. So I buy weekly tickets, £26 every week, because I don't like to buy monthly tickets just in case I do not get jobs too often. So I do weekly ticket instead. So I'll say £26 in a week multiplied by 4 gives me £104. So for me, I spend £104 on transport. Now I should do another video on how to choose your location, where to live, because sometimes if you live in a centralized location, you can easily walk to work. if you are lucky, you can walk to school. So that reduces your transportation fare. Okay, so my current situation now, my school is really very close to my house is really very close to school. I can just walk to school, but for work it's really very fast, so that's why I need to use the bus. So if you are lucky that your workplace is trekkable and your school is trekkable, then transport isn't an issue. So I wrote transport £104, and then miscellaneous, I'll just say £60. So you might need to buy clothes, you might need to buy, you know, one or two things, you know, basically you have to survive now and all of that. So for the expenses, we have £400 for rent, £100 for your feeding, £104 for transportation, £60 for miscellaneous. Am I missing anything? So let's put this together and deduct it from £1,040. So we have £400 plus £100, £500 plus £104, £604 plus 60. So we'll do £604 plus 60 gives us £664. So we are deducting £1,040 from £664. 1,040 minus 664. This leaves us with £376 in a month. So let us just work with £376. Like I said, okay, while I'm explaining now, you would understand why I said yes and no. So let's say if an average person earns £1,040 in a month and pay all of these bills, at the end of the month they're having £376. This means they can actually deposit it as their school fees every month. Okay, so let's assume you're owing like £5,000 as school fees or £6,000. How many £376 would you pay to make up £6,000? Or to make up £7,000, depending on what you owe, or to make up £6,000? Does this make sense? Yes, it does. So now, why do I say it is somewhat impossible to pay? First of all, timeline, deadline. Most times the school don't tell you pay whenever you like, because of course if it is pay whenever you like, of course I'll just relax 1 year, or towards the end of my master's program I'll pay up. But most times these schools have deadlines. They'll tell you 4 months, they'll tell you 5 months, they'll tell you 6 months. Like I said, if there were no deadlines, there was no timeline. Maybe the timeline was before you graduate, nobody would panic, nobody would be scared. But then there's a timeline. So with this timeline, this serves as a great limitation. That's one. Secondly, you may not get a job immediately you arrive, and this is a statement of fact. Now, years ago, the people who came years ago, they always say that UK has changed, or UK has changed. Before now, if you come here as a student, literally they are begging you to take shift. Like during the people who came just after the lockdown, during the COVID-19, they had to remove the 20 hours restriction. They were really begging students, please work, we need workforce, we need people, please work. People were taking shifts back to back to back. Like that was how good the economy was then. Okay, but now you could come to the UK and spend 3 months job hunting, 4 months job hunting, 5 months job hunting, no cap, you get. So consider the fact that if your school gives you 6 months to pay up your school fees, for instance, and you already arrived in the UK, 2 months you've not gotten a job here, 3 months you've not gotten a job here, how do you expect to pay the school fees? Okay, so it's a tricky one there. Secondly, you might even be lucky. Yes, you get a job, but guess what? You may not even get up to 20 hours. And that one self is really very heartbreaking, because I mean, they say, okay, you're a part-time student, no problem, we'll give you job, don't worry, you can job with it. But then they now give you like 15 hours. Some people will give you like 10 hours. Even the 20 hours usually is not usually enough. Then they now give you 10 hours, 15 hours, and then you would not say, I'm not going to work. The only reason you would reject it is that you have a better one or another option. But if you don't have another option, you will take the 12 hours like that. You will manage the 15 hours depending on what is available, you get. So consider the fact that yes, you might be lucky to get a job, but you may not even get up to 20 hours. Secondly, you may not get a job immediately you arrive in the UK. This you have to prepare yourself mentally for, while you're making that decision to pay just half of your school fees and hoping to come here to work to raise the remaining half of your school fees. But then let us look on the brighter side. What are the possibilities? Because a lot of time, I'm not someone who is always a naysayer. Even when I was in Nigeria, when people try to discourage, there are no jobs here, nothing there, UK, nothing, I will come by myself and use my 2 crocodile eyes to see it. Don't tell me that there's nothing in the US. Don't tell me that there's nothing in the UK. Don't tell me Australia is dry. Mba. Udochi will go by herself to see things for herself. You get? And I'm not someone that even when I have come and things I even have, I will not tell. Yes, so UK is not easy. The UK is not easy, but it doesn't mean if you want to come, you cannot. No. Come. So what are the possibilities that you can pay your school fees by working 20 hours? Now, number one, you paid 60 to 70% of your school fees from Nigeria. Yeah, I know this is hard because a lot of schools these days, because they want to lure a lot of students, they tell you, oh, you can pay 20% as deposit. Some would even accept as low, yes, they accept as low as 30% as deposit. But then ask yourself, if I pay 30% of 17,000 and I'm glad I won't roll my bus, I'm excited, I've packed my bus, I'm going to the UK, what will happen to the remaining? What is 30? Sorry, let me check. 30% of 17,000. Okay, 30% of 17,000 is 5,100. So what would happen to the remaining? Okay, 12,000 pounds. What is going to happen to that 12,000 pounds? Do you know how even people who work 40 hours a week may not even meet up with that, not to talk of you that is struggling 20 hours and all? You get? So don't get too excited when schools promise you, oh, you can pay no deposit. You will come and you are going to suffer. And it's mostly those schools that are always on your neck like this to pay up. Like, you see these schools that offer low deposit. I'm grateful to my school. They say 50%. Yes, when you pay 50%, as much as at that point you're like, that's too much of that, but it is relieving at some point. You get? So pay 60 to 70% of your fees, then you know that you are coming here to hustle for 30%. Okay, that makes more sense. Another possibility is that you are not paying rent. Now, you see, one thing we like from the calculation we did, for instance, you see that I deducted a whole 400 pounds out of that money and making the balance 376 pounds. This means that if you were not paying rent, you can add that 400 pounds to that 376 pounds, making it 770. That's a lot of money to add to your school fees. So imagine paying 700 and something pounds every month. Yes, it may not get to that distance close to there, but at least when your deadline is there, you know that you have paid. What is left is just infinitesimal. Oyibo. What is left is just, little, at least. So if you are not paying rent for, let's say, 6 months, 7 months, you are able to save up faster or save up more to pay your rent. But if you are paying rent, I'm so sorry. So you could live with your family member, you could stay with a friend, whatever. The fact that you are not paying rent is a plus, it's a huge relief. I always say that one of the downsides to being in the UK is this whole rent thing. Why are you paying rent monthly? In Nigeria, you just pay rent once and you go to bed. Here, monthly. Once month on the end, or yeah, carry money, give, like. So yeah, rent, you're not paying rent. That means the chances, you have increased your chances of paying your school fees before the deadline by 80%. Another reason why it's going to be possible is that you get a job immediately you arrive. Yes. So some people are usually very lucky. Immediately they arrive, 1 week, 2 weeks, job don't set for them. So let me tell you one thing. My brother was really lucky when he didn't stay up to 1 week in this Leeds before he got a job. Like, when I came and he asked me, how far have you applied? I was like, yes, I'm still applying. My brother used to feel like I'm not serious. I'm telling you the truth. My brother used to feel I'm not serious with job hunting, because he's like, I did not even stay up to 1 week and I got a job. So me now, I'm playing. I don't know what I'm doing, you get? So if you get a job immediately, it makes it so easy. So imagine that time you are waiting to get a job, that 2 months, that 3 months, you would have added here, and create something. So if you get a job immediately, you also increase your chances of paying your school fees way before the deadline, okay? Another reason is that you work more than 20 hours. I don't want to shout, though. I don't want to shout, though, because it's not from my mouth that you hear that okra soup is for draw. But yeah, that's the truth. The UK says you cannot. Let me come closer. You can't, like, the standard is don't work more than 20 hours. But then people work more than 20 hours. So ask me how. There are a lot of cash at hand jobs here. These jobs that don't, they don't do the official. Okay. So a lot of students do all those jobs in addition to their 20 hours. So these jobs on the side, they could do 12 hours a day, 10 hours a day, depending on availability. So it helps them augment what they already have from their 20 hours. So they are doing here, they're doing the official 20 hours, and they are doing here to meet up. But then use your head, because a lot of people do all of these things and they forget. See how dramatic I sound. Yeah, because a lot of people do all of these things and they miss their classes, they don't do their assignments, you get. So as much as you are pursuing money, remember that it is your school that brought you here. They could easily write to home office and then you get into trouble. So as you're doing all those things, you're doing here, attend your classes, do your assignment, pass your exams, like, you understand. So don't feel too like that's go. You are chasing money, That's how they will use and chase you out of their country. They chase money until they chase you out of your country. I go clear, you get. So people do a lot of cash and hand jobs here, and it is normal. Trust me, it is normal. But then use your head, use your sense. Don't get into trouble while doing it. Yes, another possibility is if you are a January intake. Yeah. I'm not saying people should not come in September, but if you are a January intake and your school goes on long summer breaks like mine, lucky you. Because usually, yes, why there's a 20-hour limit for students, you can work more than 20 hours during summer breaks. Okay, whenever you're on break holiday, you can work full-time when you're on holiday, term holiday and all of that. So during summer, if your summer is 3 months, that means you can, if you're lucky, you could get a full-time job and you can work full-time. And when you work full-time, that means within that period you can save enough and pay up your school fees. So hunt for schools. As you're searching for schools, search for schools that go on long summer breaks, like Leeds Beckett University. Okay. Don't say I did not tell you. So during these long summer breaks, you're going to, at least by God's grace, work hard and pay up. So like I said, possibility or impossibility is not, I beg how motivational speakers they talk again. Impossibility is nothing, okay? Don't let anybody discourage you that, oh, it's not possible, and because of that, you are not making your japa moves anymore, okay? So like I said, yes and no, but be really careful making decisions, because here in the UK, nobody is coming for you. I mean, absolutely nobody is coming for you. I was speaking with a friend yesterday, telling him how you can survive in Nigeria without money. I mean, okay, you don't have money, Abby. Maybe you've paid your rent for the year and you are broke ass. Like, in fact, you lost your job, but at least you paid your rent 2 months ago. That means you have 10 whole months to live in that house. Provided within the 10 months, you probably get another job or whatever. But in the UK survives based, like, people survive here monthly. You cannot stay here without working in a month. Like, how would you? Even food, you not go see food chop. Yes, that's how this place is a very, I don't know the English word. Yes, it's like an unzobu situation. Like, oh, survival of the fittest. Yes, the UK is survival of people. Like, everybody's on survival mode. Like, you are making the money, you are spending it. You are making, like, I don't know how to explain it. So that's why I said make your decision, because if you come here, there's even under bridge. You can sleep in under bridge if na Nigeria, if na Lagos. There's under bridge for you to, and if you sleep on that bridge, that means you don't have sustenance in the UK, and they'll send you back to go back to your house. You get. So really try to be like, how do I put it? Make your decision not based on because say you want to japa. Make your decision with akonuche and wisdom. Okay. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video. If there's any other thing maybe about the UK you want me to talk about, let me know. So someone, a subscriber reached out to me. He asked me to talk about the costs, like what your daily expenses are like as a student, what your regular daily expenses looks like. Well, while I plan to do like a comprehensive video on that, but I gave hints in this video. But over time, because I just moved into my place, over time I'll get a clearer picture of what my monthly expenses look like, and of course I'm gonna share it on this channel. If you've been watching this video and you don't feel like subscribing, still no subscribe, please don't subscribe. Just watch the video and go. Don't even like the video. Yeah, just watch and go. But that thing that you are doing to me, they will do. Your children will do it to you, your friends will do it to you. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for coming to my video. Yeah, and I'll see you in the next one. Toodles.